We, the people, have been taught love and respect and honor. But what is now is a disgrace. It is lack of respect. This is a disgrace to mankind, a disgrace to our forefathers, our heroes of all that was recorded in the scriptures of our greatest history. This has been heartbreaking to see monuments torn down, history that's been shared with children of all ages, grown-ups all around the world. How can our schools teach such lack of respect? These children that are marching learn from one another. These children are our future, and they have become a disaster, a disgrace, with no respect. This land was brought forth with freedom to all. This land was the place to grow and for one to have hope for one's future, for the American dream, the dream that all nationalities from all over the world could have faith in. And what does this nation now have but fear of disaster, of sickness, of death? No hope, but the fear of destroying this beautiful world. I'm appalled at this left-wing Democrat Party, how they have turned truth to darkness. But we Americans have one thing that we will not let anyone destroy. That's our free will to open our eyes to the lies that surround us. This is our home, the USA, and we only must respect every gift that has been planted by our greatest presidents, every truth to save this country. And this is the time to finally break through with seeing what's happening with all the lies and the anger. Donald Trump, he who has been sworn into presidency, has held this nation strong. You all must see this truth and have your ballots ready, for he is the only man, the President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, who will save this nation's pride, so our future, our children, will remember what our history truly is, that our ancestors fought a great war for freedom and love, and with that truce, we became a union of "In God We Trust." God bless. My dear friends, we're all in this together. Can you see how the lies are destroying this nation? All the deceit, no truths. The pandemic has many antibodies that have been before in many epidemics that we've had in our lifetimes. If you look at the numbers, you see how far-fetched this has become. But because of the amount of loss everyone has endured, one doesn't want this to be a failure, because this would make everybody feel like fools. But the truth is, this is no different than any other virus. This has become a war against Trump. So what we must now see is that Trump has done beyond what is required and has proved the trust of the American people. For the ones who are against Trump, I'm here to warn you of destruction if he does not win this election, because, my fellow Americans, you will be lied to, and your freedoms will be taken away, your justice will be taken away. You will have failed because you trusted in the left-wing propaganda, because this is a fight between the good and the evil. I pray for you all to see truths and watch the lies all around us. And if you want truths, open your heart, your eyes, and stop this at the altar. This economy has never been better. Drop your egos and seek who is showing truths. Trump is. You must know the Declaration of Independence is carved on the wall of heaven. So we must expose the lies that now threaten the human race. This left-wing noise is destroying this life, and we, the American people, must stand for the truth. We're in the fight of our lives now. We must win this election. Let us all lift our egos, lift our anger, and fight for truths. Fight for this nation's freedom, for this nation is God's praise, and I know he shall not allow the hallowed walls be destroyed. Let's honor America, and we must keep her safe, and this, my fellow Americans, is do or die. I believe that the purpose of one's knowledge is to be open and see this truth, that President Donald Trump will fight for her glory and the people of the United States of America. God bless. This nation has been altered with darkness upon her land, with left-wing propaganda and a reminder of history's past lessons. This constant battle of protesting against each color is not what God has planned. He who has guilt, rage, disappointment must realize that all are emotions that all have. This is why we have rules to follow that protect this land of dreams and hope. We stand, all of us, as a nation under God. We have come through many years of verbal attacks against black, white, Jew, Christian, and all religions. This is why wars erupt. There's always battles for control. How can we see such havoc in this time of our lives to destroy our police protection? These are men on duty, serving, protecting, and all who want to behave to run around stealing like criminals with no law and order. This is a disgrace to mankind. This is a disgrace to the higher power of God, our only Savior. And the leader that's in office, this man, our President of the United States of America, stood in this battle of destruction and protected all as his own family. He has given beyond his oath and has shown all ethnicity and all religions his loyalness, his love, and his trust to protect this country, the United States of America. Donald J. Trump has no sword for this battle he has been in. He has love and his want to achieve the highest dignity that this country deserves. And to the people of America, he has sworn to deliver this. And he has, morning, day, and night, sacrificed his life to turn this battle into a union of glory. No other president besides Lincoln faced down such radical behavior. Their job was to protect the United States of America. So let us remember the truths for which we stand, for peace and love, one nation under God, and liberty and justice for all, and all else are excuses to destroy America, destroy good for evil, for lack of truths. Let's put away our bricks and bars. Remember how far we've come since the Civil War, how our forefathers made a truce. Let us remember this truth and not fall back, only forward with peace. As Jefferson quoted, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." A reminder that in November we must all vote and keep President Trump in office to keep our country safe. No other will ever be Donald J. Trump, a gifted man of truths and strength to prepare his country for greatness again. God bless.
Hi, my name is Frank Schaefer. My father, Francis Schaefer, was a famous evangelical evangelist and theologian, and I grew up in a mission, and weirdly in the early 1970s became his nepotistic sidekick as a young 20-something out on the evangelical circuit. What was interesting about Dad's ministry was, however, that he was a man of ideas. He was not really to be confused with folks like Jerry Falwell, who founded the Moral Majority, and others. He was a much deeper thinker than that, and someone he enjoyed reading a lot was the psychologist Erich Fromm, who became well known for his writing on malignant narcissism. A lot of people point to Donald Trump's rise in the evangelical community as a leader pushed by people like Franklin Graham and Jerry Falwell Jr. and other people who, by the way, I knew all these guys back when they were kids, actually, young men, when our fathers knew each other. Billy Graham, the evangelist, used to hang out with my dad, vice versa. I knew Jerry Falwell Sr. In fact, I preached from Falwell's pulpit at Liberty Baptist, his church, when he was just getting his college going that Jerry Falwell Jr. runs. A lot of people are shocked that evangelical leaders like Falwell and Graham, Franklin Graham, have gone for Donald Trump and still support him even today after all the lies and the ineptitude and all the rest of it, based on things like him paying off a porn star and so forth and so on. But there's a far deeper issue that Erich Fromm was dealing with in his books on malignant narcissism. And that is that when you look at the personality of Donald Trump, to follow him or to vote for him or to believe in him is the antithesis of everything that Christianity ever stood for. Narcissism is the opposite of the Christian life. Now, we are all narcissists in our own way, but there's a difference between the ordinary narcissism, say, we are born with as a child who only thinks of herself or himself, and the narcissism of a madman that Fromm talks about. You know, I don't usually read things when I do these videos, but I'm going to read from his book here on individual and social narcissism in chapter 4 of his book, The Heart of Man. A particular instance of narcissism which lies on the borderline between sanity and insanity can be found in some men who have reached extraordinary degrees of power. That he goes on to name the pharaohs and people like them, Hitler, Stalin, etc. This is madness, even though it is an attempt to solve the problem of existence by pretending that one is not human. It is a madness that tends to grow in the lifetime of the afflicted person. What's interesting to me is that Fromm has described not just Donald Trump, but the kind of malignant narcissism that someone like Franklin Graham, or for that matter, Bill Barr, the Attorney General, pushing his Roman Catholic ideas in our culture of theocracy, seeing himself as all important, or Jerry Falwell Jr. taking a picture of himself with his pants unzipped, standing next to a pregnant woman, mimicking her pregnant belly in this insulting photograph that got him in trouble. These men, Trump, Franklin Graham, Bill Barr, and others, on one hand, talk about Christianity. Trump even waves a Bible when he clears a square of people with brutality, gassing them and having them beaten. Franklin Graham talks about Jesus. When you get to Jerry Falwell Jr., he says he's running a Christian college. They all play this game. But at the heart, what you have to understand about the definition of malignant narcissism that Fromm was writing about in 1964, he describes a condition in which an individual is characterized by being grandiloquent, antisocial, and hostile behavior. How do we recognize such a person, he writes? Sensitivity to criticism is one thing. Fear of criticism. Entitlement, self-sacrifice is difficult for such people. Blaming others, not accepting responsibility, distant relationships. This is 1964. He's not writing about Trump or Franklin Graham or Jerry Falwell Jr. or William Barr, but he might as well be. What's interesting to me is that when you look at the scriptures, the Bible, in writing about Jesus, Jesus's character and everything we as Christians are supposed to imitate is the complete opposite of this. Now, that is the truly shocking thing. Amazing that Fromm gives us a better guide to Christianity in his writing on malignant narcissism than the Christian leaders do today in vaunting and lauding and telling people to vote for Donald Trump, who represents a malignant narcissism that has crossed the line of insanity and gotten into a kind of a perversity and an ugliness which the entire gospel of Jesus Christ, the entire witness of biblical Christianity, the entire witness of the historic church at its better moments stands against. So Franklin Graham and William Barr with his Roman Catholic theocracy and Jerry Falwell Jr. have not simply picked a candidate which has fallen by the wayside in terms of sexual morality, of molesting women and bragging about it. They have picked a candidate that if they would only read Erich Fromm, they would understand that they have picked a character whose malignant narcissism is the exact opposite of everything that Christianity teaches. And so I would just say to my friends who are Christians and still in the evangelical community, I may have left evangelicalism, and you regard me as an apostate and a backslider and all this terminology because I am not a Donald Trump fan. But at least I remember what my father, Francis Schaeffer, taught about what a Christian life looked like And it has nothing to do primarily with sexual morality. It has to do with the heart. And here's the question I want to leave you with. Does God feed your heart, or does God feed your ego? Think about that. My name is Frank Schaefer.